Sir, I will have you know that I was indeed playing Street Fighter.
I couldn't even tell by Discord. Okay, you probably were on console though, right?
No, I was on my PC and I Discord up because I was talking to Big M.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, which should be your clue that I hit the record button.
Nice.
We're going right on in. Neil, here's the best part. I have not told you the topic yet.
No, I have no idea what it is.
It's an easy one today. Episode 62 of the Strength Hammer podcast is going to talk about, well, one, I'm going to talk a lot about my trip to Tacoma to fill time, get that free content out there. But we'll talk about this bad boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the new GHB.
I don't even have that in my possession right now. I need to go grab it, I think.
That's okay. It's okay. Tell you what, while everyone's off and doing that, I'll just put up a nice picture of Taylor Swift from the Taylor Swift concert June 16th when I was there, just to cover our faces while you run off and get it. So go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst ourselves. So yes, another chance to talk about the Taylor Swift concert. Absolutely phenomenal. I wish I could go to another one, maybe one day. I love that I've had people on social media reaching out around the world because they're getting tickets to their shows. That she's doing the world tour next year with it. So that's fun to share in their joy of people who are going to get to go have the life-changing experience of seeing Taylor Swift live in concert. So if you were one of those too, drop a comment below on the YouTube channel, and we could talk about that. Actually, I'm hoping, I'm not sure if Neil's in earshot, but I'm hoping to get a guest on here next couple weeks, and probably the whole show will be mostly about Taylor Swift, as opposed to, there'll be a little bit of Warhammer, instead of the opposite, where it's mostly Warhammer and a little bit of Taylor Swift. It's going to be mostly Taylor Swift and lots of Warhammer. And boy, Neil put this GHB really far away. Not good for vamping and filling for time, as I thought, because I'm running out of ideas. So, how's everyone else doing out there? Myself had a good day. Going to be reading through the latest White Dwarf that came in. Shout out to Stephen Boggs from Vanguard Tactics. I see he's in this edition. Definitely one of my dreams, one of my bucket list items is to get myself in the White Dwarf. We'll see if I can achieve that at some point in my hobby career, but hey, if not, it is what it is. And actually, it brings me up another good point. If you're listening, reach out to me on social media or leave a comment if you have any guests that you'd like to have on. I'm not opposed to guests. It's just kind of the last thing I always think about this. I usually just like to talk to Neil and have a good time, but it's also fun to get other people on. We've had Mitch, we've had Ben, we've had Scary. I'm going to get Alex Fithammer on here soon. He's an easy grab since he's local to me. But yeah, let us know who you want to have on this podcast down below. And if you say Taylor Swift, that's perfectly fine. I'm probably not going to be able to get her on this podcast. Sorry. But hey, with that, boom.
Hey,
Neil's back. Neil's back. Neil,
all right.
How are you doing, Neil?
I'm doing good. Busy, but good, as always. So, how about yourself, fine sir? You had a busy weekend yourself.
Yeah, busy 5 or so days at the U.S. Open Tacoma 2023. I'm glad we called it Tacoma this year since it's in Tacoma, as opposed to last year when we just said Seattle, and everyone's like, that's not Seattle. I mean, it's like someone coming like, U.S. Open Pittsburgh, and it's in Monroeville. It's like, fuck you.
Fooled you. Everybody's got hotels in Seattle.
No. Thankfully, they put out the address beforehand.
Wow.
Actually, this is another interesting tidbit. Last year, we were in the same hotel as the convention, like the convention center down in Tacoma. So that's where the room blocks were at. This year, we got the one right across the street, which is a completely separate hotel, but it was a shorter walk, and everyone loved it more.
Nice.
Like literally, it was one block as opposed to nearly like half a mile. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, some beautiful pictures you took out there too, by the way. So
Oh, we had great weather. There was not a single drop of rain. Not a single drop of rain. Just all
yeah,
sunshine and clear skies the whole time, which is
you actually you took a picture of Mount Rainier that looked
Mhm.
exactly like the Lonely Mountain. And I was just like, I had to be like, there's a dragon hiding in that thing for sure.
Oh,
So that,
absolutely.
that's my nerd. Yeah.
I mean, it is a volcano, so which actually
Right.
I learned this time. I didn't realize that last time that it is actually a volcano,
Hmm.
but that's
Yeah,
cool.
that thing goes. The whole area's out.
Oh yeah, and we at
It's
that
done.
convention center, you'd have a great view of watching it happen.
Yeah. All pyroclastic flow. It takes you out in about 30 seconds.
I mean, we'd have a few minutes watching it come at us.
At 400 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fairly far away. Uh, but yeah, I mean, do you want me to just go right into that, Neil? Or do you want to do like the fitness stuff first, or where do you want to? Or I can go
Well, I
right.
can tell you I've been running still. Although that took a little hiccup over the weekend. I went out for a little run and pulled my calf muscle. So
Well, that's not good.
specifically my posterior tibialis for those of you who are initiated. But anyway, it's not that bad. But I tried to test it out and run again. Was it just yesterday? And it started talking to me pretty quickly into the run. So we shut it down to not do further
Yep,
further injustice to it. So right now we're doing some massage. If you ever see me lean over here right now, I'm just trying to
massage.
kind of
Yeah, yep.
massage that bad boy out there a little bit.
There you go.
Um, but yeah, so I've been keeping up with that, and yeah, that's really been my fitness lately. So
It's my fitness outside of the running around at the event, which is constant walking and moving. Um, but I don't really count it. It doesn't feel like exercise, so I don't count it mentally as exercise. But before I left, I did a nice long all overall body session for about an hour and a half. And then tomorrow will be my first time back. So I've essentially had just about no, but probably about 7 days off. So I've had a week off of actually doing anything truly fitness related that wasn't just moving mats around and running around putting out fires at an event. So everyone's having a good time.
did I have a better fitness week than Chuck?
Uh,
Or at least in more
a more traditional
mode.
sense.
The mode
Yeah,
was higher.
I I probably walked like I don't know 18 miles or something. But
That's more than I ran. That's for sure.
yeah,
Okay, you win.
I,
You win.
I
You
don't know.
always do.
I don't count it. So I'm gonna give you. I think I'm gonna give you the wings. I said I don't count it. So if I don't count it, fair is fair, right?
All right, all right. I'll take this win. I'm
All
1,553.
right. Well, we'll see where we're at next week. You got time to catch up.
That's right.
All right.
I'll
Well, we'll start good.
put that into your book of grudges.
Ah, my book of grudges. Nah, you put in your book of grudges. Now that we all have one, we're all getting ready for NashCon.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh, I guess let's move into the hobby. Um, so we'll talk briefly about the Battlescroll that just came out too with the GHB.
Sure.
So Neil, you've had some hobby. I'm gonna put up the hobby you sent me real quick here on the screen. So NashCon, we're taking character and overlords. How was
Right.
your list affected with the points changes that KO rightfully had?
Not that much, honestly. Maybe had to pull maybe a unit or maybe just adjust the list a little bit.
Mhm.
But honestly, I think I like the list better right now than I did. I mean, I was probably coming up a good, oh, I don't know, like 1970-ish points, before the points changes.
Mhm.
And so then I just had to kind of massage some stuff around because the hero increases. I think it might have put me like 15 points over.
Right.
So I just moved some stuff around and we're back. It's not far off from what I had last time. I was not using Thunderers because I knew that Thunderers are going to take a huge
Yeah.
points hike.
Yeah.
So I had saw that writing on the wall a long time ago and decided to go the melee route. Also because my Thunderers are all rifles, and so they were going to be crappy anyway. So that kind of helped me make that decision. But yeah, if you got a lot of Thunderers right now, your list might be a little bit different.
It sure will be. So I see you got a bunch of balloon boys here, an admiral and Navigator. on
Correct.
screens for everyone to see Neil's hobby. Is
Yep.
this all the hobby? Like, you painted all this past week or past 2 weeks, I suppose?
Past week, yes, I painted all of that, and I just primed some models, literally right before we got on the show. So I built 6 more balloon boys. I had the 2 boxes left because I wanted to see what would happen with the points.
Sure.
If you've been following along with the show, and since they didn't go up at all, in fact, they got better with
Yeah.
the Battlescroll because now they're in units of 3. So if you reinforce them one time, they still are coherent in 6.
Yep.
So
Which
that
is
is
a big
huge.
boon.
Yeah,
Huge
big
boon.
boon for those boys. So, um, uh, if you choose to pop them out of the boat, which I'm sure wise people will do all over the place, and which I'm sure I probably won't do. So, we'll see what happens there. But at least if I do choose to pop them out of the boat, they will be coherent and
Right.
running into battle and first striking and do all the fun things you can do with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking at my list. It went up a little bit, and I think I might switch for convenience sake, switch my sub faction. Since I'm not attached to one with Caradron, I'm gonna switch
Mhm.
my sub faction to the one that allows Thunderers to be battle line, because I only have 2, but they're like you, they're rifles and cannons.
Yeah,
But just having 3 Arcanaut companies as my battle line, and just like keep looking at that, and like that's the only thing I want to drop out of my list.
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to drop any of my boats. I don't want to drop my
The Arcos.
heroes.
I've played a couple games with Arcos, and they just meander around trying to hold objectives at the
Yeah,
back,
I know they're
or they're
cool.
like they
Like,
look cool. They just don't do.
they look
They don't
cool.
do
When I did the
anything.
army, it was
Yeah.
I always like to get 3 basic pure battle line just to always have it, and I didn't take
Mhm.
it too much farther past that. So I'm like, I'm thinking do that, drop them, bring a couple more heroes for some fun.
Yeah,
Would be
I
my
don't know
next on my
when
list.
those boys of mine are ever getting painted. I don't. They have to serve a purpose. You in order to be elevated into my ranks of painted models, you have to earn your way onto a battlefield. So
Fair is fair. But I'm trying to think. Okay, so outside of that, I'm painting. I'm building and priming a bunch of Kill Team and Warcry right now for Gen Con. Still, I had all my stuff done for GW for that, and then the team that was doing some of it was behind, so I offered to help, which means I got more work to do.
there you go.
More models right over there that I can't say what they are. Not that they're not anything that's released right now, but because it's a sealed team thing, like you're not supposed to know what you're getting. It's a blind pack. So, uh,
Nice.
yeah. So I'll have a couple hundred models built and primed and shipped by next Monday. Yay!
Sounds like hell, but sure.
Other than that, hobby. Yeah, I guess I'll talk a little bit more about Tacoma 2023. Better take a sip of my Killian's Irish Red Ale today.
Oh god, that looks good.
It is good. Do you need to go get a drink? Do we need to pause for a drink?
No, no, we don't need to pause for a drink. I'd have had one. I
That's fair.
wasn't thinking tonight.
That's fair. So I did get lucky, Neil, flying out. So I fly American. That's what I always fly. I like racking up my points to American. It's been a good airline for me, and I've never had major issues. So when I was flying out, I had 2 choices. Well, 3 technically. I could go to Charlotte, and then over to Seattle, Tacoma, Orlando, then Seattle, Tacoma, or
Oh my god.
Dallas, Seattle, Tacoma. Those are the 3 options. The quickest flight would have actually been the Orlando one.
Really?
Yeah, because I would have been down there, 0 layover, right in the next one, fly all the way up.
Oh, that's dangerous though.
It's dangerous, but also I hate Orlando's airport. So,
I don't. I guess I've flown into Orlando
right,
once. Yeah.
for Disney trip, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I flew there. I've flown there for Disney for sure, but the most recent was the first year in the very first U.S. Open was in Orlando, and I flew into it, and I realized how much of a dump that airport is because no one cares because you're going to Disney.
Right. 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 That's essentially it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm never going there. So that was right off the list. Second was like, okay, Charlotte. I like Charlotte. I usually fly through Charlotte, but not when I'm going to the West Coast. I have a very important thing, Neil. I'm sure you're going to feel it too. And it's more of the driving dad mentality.
Uh huh.
Why would I ever go in a direction that's not towards where I
Right.
want to go?
Right. Well, oddly enough, I'm flying to Nashville from here
Uh-huh.
for NashCon, and so I fly United, and I get
Okay.
points through United. And United, I could have went to LaGuardia,
Hmm.
and then to Nashville. I'm not sure. Like that has to be like close to like the most indirect
Yeah,
way. Or I
it's
could have gone to O'Hare and had more of a layover.
well. Oh,
And I will be going to O'Hare.
yeah. I
So
say, I don't mind if your flight, if you're going past a direction or slightly out of the direction in a different way. That, but it's like a 45-minute wheels up, the wheels down. That's not
yeah,
as bothersome because one time I had to go coming from the West Coast. I think it was San Diego. I had to go to Newark, and then back to Pittsburgh. That's like a 45-minute jump between those two afterwards. It's like whatever, not a big deal. Um, but I didn't want to spend an hour and a half in Charlotte to then get on the plane and be there for a long time. So I was like, I'll take the Dallas flight because layover in Dallas, but at least I'm towards my direction. Plus, I know Dallas Airport. It's big, it's fun, it's new. Thank goodness I did because Neil, I think you probably experienced it while I was away, or at least maybe part of it. There were some major storms happening in the Midwest,
oh yeah, I guess there were. Yeah,
like huge. Almost everybody on the team for the U.S. Open coming from this end had some issues. Delayed flights, sitting on the ground because of storms in the way.
wow.
And then I mean, even whenever I got on my flight to Dallas up, there was like a 30-minute delay because of a mechanical thing. So it was weird, but I avoided the worst of it. And I was like, oh, thank goodness, because there was some people that were. Actually, I was talking to Martin Orlando who attended the event. I think he was on his plane and they were on the runway for 3 hours before they took off, coming
And
from
that is
Jersey.
the war.
That'd be
Uh,
awful. 3 hours on the ground before you
oh,
take off for a 5-hour flight or whatever it is.
your favorite strangers sitting around you all breathing on each other. Oh,
Actually, so I enjoy. I don't bother people, but sometimes I say hi to people that are next to me and like, hey, we're next to each other for a couple hours. I'm gonna say hi.
yeah.
But I like and sometimes people engage back, and I like talking and learning people's stories. So I really like talking to random people on a plane. If they're not
Yeah.
interested to talk, I don't push it. But
Yeah.
there's a lot more people who are wanting to talk and learn, which is kind of cool.
Oh my God, no.
Mm. Man, every
I'm a
flight.
headphones on, face out the window kind of guy. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put headphones on and I'll watch some
Yeah.
stuff. But like, if you want to engage, have a conversation, we'll go as long as you want. There's been times where I've had long flights, talk the whole time. There's been other times where I sit down, no one wants to talk. I have my headphones in, I chill to my music, and that's that.
You know, if somebody engages me, I'll engage, but I am not engaging
Oh,
otherwise. So
I'm
yeah,
an
I'm not going out
engager.
of my way.
I'm an
I wouldn't have
engager.
guessed that about you, Chuck. I would not have guessed that.
Not at all, huh?
That's too
uh,
funny.
so anyway, get out there, land, waiting to go. I'm going right from the hotel from the airport to the convention. I'll be able to check into the hotel and then do all that, then go right to work, which was nice because you get a chance to freshen up before you go
Mhm.
get sweaty. So while all that's happening, there's a minor crisis that happened with shipping of some things that were critical for the U.S. Open. I won't say what it was, because here's the thing: we solved the issue. When I say we, I meant the higher ups,
Mhm.
full time people. They and definitely, what it did on my end for everyone else is we were delayed in final setup. But and we're thinking last year the teardown at Tacoma was for some reason took forever because people were sick after the event, like going down, like food poisoning, or like some people actually got like they hurt their ankle or something. So it's like, okay, you're not going to lift everything heavy, go rest. So like last year Tacoma was like a nightmare of a teardown. So we're like all kind of like mentally like, is there a curse in Tacoma? And like especially when this crisis kind of popped set up. Sorry, there's a bug in front of me. When
Enough to talk with your hands.
talking about my hands. So when this crisis popped up, we're like, oh no. But like we all sat there and said, no, we're not going to let this beat us. It doesn't matter. Whatever it takes, we're going to get this done, and we're going to make sure all the guests that are coming have a great experience, and they're not even going to know all the bull crap that we're about to have to go through and
Mhm.
stuff. And we did it. We pulled it off through everyone's help and supporting each other. Um,
You're in your best Tim Gunn. Make it work.
yeah, Yeah, but literally we were setting out the last of the tables as people who were registering registration open were putting the boxes away because like we want the hall when you walk into those halls we want it to be like it's Games Workshop. We want you to walk in and see like this pristine hall full of all the tables, stores open, giant Terminator statue, and just it's ready to go and flawless. Doesn't stay flawless because people come in and they move things around, but we want that first impression to be like, damn, this is a good looking hall. Not there's boxes we're still setting up, blah blah blah. And we achieved that because we always try to aim to achieve that. But we're really putting the boxes in the back room right as people are coming in. We're like, get it, or we did it. So right at the line, we hit it, um, which was great. And then after that, like once the show starts, that's honestly usually the easiest part. I mean, Neil, you know that once your event starts, you're just answering questions.
Easy street. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we had
until the end.
Yeah, until the end, then tear it down. Yeah.
Until scoring it and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, for the event, it was nice. We had a full Age of Sigmar team. So there was James O'Brien, Gareth Thomas, who runs or one of the TOs for LVO, John Barrymore, and myself. Now it was really interesting. So James and Gareth Tom. I'm going to refer to him as Tom. So they're really strong TOs. They like know that stuff very well. So they decided to have John also run Warhammer Underworlds. And I was going to swing a little bit into 40K, but 40K seemed covered. But what ended up happening, which was really interesting and a different experience for me at a US Open event, is I judged one round of Sigmar and like 5 other random questions because I started helping with other clerical admin duties, like help set up the paint showcase, make sure all the people who are newer, like not veterans to the event, knew what was going on for this and this and that, and making sure like all the load I could take off of the people, like the event organizers per se, like I guess the full-time GW people, as much as I could take off them to do, because Sigmar is always in a great state. We have great players. They study the game. Questions are usually pretty like, hey, this doesn't make sense. Let's work through it. Like I said, we have Tom and James who are excellent at diving into rules like that. So everything was covered immediately, and like they ran a great event, and John ran a great Underworlds event, and he also helped out with Sigmar. Like I said, I helped out with Sigmar when I was around, but I actually spent most of my time not TOing, which is weird since I'm an AOS judge, but I mean, that's part of the team. You learn to do everything. You help out where you're needed. But definitely a different experience, but a fun one and fulfilling one, getting to learn and help guide some of the less veteran folks to how things are going to work to make sure it runs smoothly. And the event ran smoothly, so nice. Kudos to everyone.
I'm curious, since you mentioned Underworlds, how many people were playing Underworlds?
14.
Okay. Just curious. I mean, that sounds like a fairly decent number for that, honestly. So,
I mean, Horus Heresy had 16 people. So,
they're really 16?
16 people.
Wow.
We had 96 for Sigmar, and then I think over 200 for 40K.
Wow.
Kill Team had maybe 40 to 50. Blood Bowl about the same. There was a nice 40K narrative that seemed pretty, maybe like a 30 something, 32. Yeah, but this was actually and then the hobby challenges too, like hobby challenge and the hobby classes. If you combine all that together, this is the biggest US Open we ever ran as far as attendance goes.
About how many would you say?
Cool.
Ballpark.
500, 600 maybe. Yeah, like for everything. I might be wildly getting those wrong, but it was the biggest.
All right. We're here estimating, so
yeah.
It's been made.
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, like I go into it, I just have to usually just care about what's in my lane and I focus on that. But my lane was shifting this past weekend, but it was nice because I got to talk to other people on the team. It was nice also on the 40K side. One of the head rules writers for 40K was over, so he was one of the judges, which I have to imagine. It was Stu Black from the design. He does the Meta Watch articles. Very nice gentleman and loves talking about 40K. Even like you think like afterwards we're just kind of hanging out. He wouldn't want to talk about it. He's like, no, I'll talk 40K all day. Yeah. Like I guess you have to love it in and out
Right.
fully to write the
To
rules
do that.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
but I can only imagine how stressful it might be. Say me and you were playing a 40K game, Neil,
Hmm.
and the guy who wrote the rules is standing to our left, not interfering, just watching us play, because like he's a judge, he's gonna watch
And I'm
people
sitting
play.
there like, this sucks.
Not even that. Like I wonder, and I didn't ask him. All exhausted by the end, but like, I wonder, like, imagine him or just any the head rules writer for any game system judging an event, running into that one player who disagrees with you as a TO.
Uh-huh.
First off,
Yeah,
first of all, you
yeah.
disagree with the TO. Okay, great. Secondly, it's like, no, I know I'm right.
Right, right, right. I have a very good idea of the rules as intended.
Yes,
That
yes.
person's arguing rules is written to the guy who literally wrote the rule and knows what was exactly intended.
Right. And
So
but I'm pretty sure the people who are the type of people to argue with the TO aren't the ones even caring about watching the meta watch anyway. Like, it's
right,
just like you're get out of here, you scrub.
yeah. So who took if you're aware, who took first, second, third for Sigmar?
Oh,
Like what
actually,
armies?
I will look it up right now. Truth be told, even on like the award ceremony, when it
Mhm.
came time to that, I just started tearing down Sigmar train and took like that as my main goal because since Tom and James ran essentially ran that event, like I said, and then they didn't need our help, which was fine, and they did a great job because like, as they're wonderful people and wonderful TOs. Um, I'm not gonna go up there like a fool and be like, yeah, let me help shake hands and stuff. I'm like, no, I didn't do anything for this event other than judge around. I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing, which is taking care of the back end stuff no one else has the time for. So sure, let me take care of that.
Mhm.
All right. So, first place, Aussie Arc Bone Reapers.
Okay.
Second place, Beast of Chaos. With
Really?
yeah, with
Mhm.
Noah who won LVO
Okay.
last year.
All right.
Man, he was yeah, he was close. Noah's close to winning it all.
Mhm.
Then Seraphon in third, Zinch in fourth, and Gitz in fifth. And then just to round out the top eight, because we did do like a cut with a shadow round, Ogre Maw Tribes in sixth, Sylvaneth in seventh, which is cool to see, and Soulblight in eighth, which going
All
in
that sounds correct.
yeah, well, there was like one round I was looking at like not the pairings but the placings on occasion. I think it was like the fourth round, like the top five was just full of Soul Blight. I was like, oh, here we go. And then nope, they just won in top eight now. It's like, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Paired itself out of there, huh?
Yeah.
So they're going to be strong at the mid to high tables there, probably. So they're
Yeah, I'd have to
yeah,
go back and look
they'll
at
be beaten
pairing.
by the better players, and we'll just slaughter the
Oh
likes
yeah,
of
yeah.
us.
I I think yeah, better players are gonna be able to beat them now, but I wonder how many of them maybe matched up against each other and took themselves out too far. Like, so if you,
Yeah,
you run into each other and neither one's scoring max, you might drop pretty low pretty quickly if like you're both
sure. I
halfway.
actually, my first Brewhammer was, and I know the rules and everything have shifted since then, but 2 years ago, and I remember running 60 zombies into 60 zombies, and it just kind of took a piece of my soul,
Yeah.
and I'll never fully get that away. It's never coming back.
Yeah. I've ran 60 witch elves into 60 witch elves, but that's over in a flash.
Yeah, but they're not killing each other and bringing each other back.
No, no, absolutely
So
not. Yeah.
it's some kind of purgatory of playing Warhammer.
You're like if I ever played that and I pushed that against zombies, I'd just look at my opponent and be like, can we just ignore this whole part of the table
Right. That's right. Can we
forever?
just
Like
leave it
it
there?
doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah,
And if they said no, I can beat you, I'd be like, okay, you know what, you win. I'm not doing this. Let's ignore
yeah,
this and
yeah,
play
yeah,
over here, but
yeah.
you got the full win.
Right. My back cannot take that. You win. So
Yeah.
whoever has the fittest back wins that. Wins.
Oh. But
So
yeah, no, great event. Saturday night. I actually got to explore the town. I mean, I got to explore the town a couple nights, but there was a couple late nights too, and so I got to go to my favorite bar there that we all found called McMinimans. Yes, I said
that's
that right. Yeah.
yeah.
So each floor is a different bar theme, and there's a hidden speakeasy. So
Ooh, nice.
got to go there a couple nights. Once with some of the crew members, and then once with some of the players. Uh, Kept it light. Like I said, I have a pretty hard rule whenever I'm out at these events is I never have more than two drinks. because late nights, like one, I don't want to get sick. Drinking drops your immune system. I'm in a different place. Like I don't want to be drunk in a place I don't
Right.
really
You're there
know.
for work and
Yeah,
stuff too.
I mean, even when you're clocked out, but like, yeah, and then the mornings are early, and I don't want to be feeling bad. And I can handle two drinks. It never makes me feel bad. I'll go to sleep. I'll be like, like my body. That's kind of like my limit of where I'm good. If I take three, and it's like, oh, I'll probably feel it.
Safer for the wallet too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Um, but the Saturday night, me and some of the crew got to go out to a comedy club, which I've never been.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually was the other interesting thing. We get there and it's like you pay a little bit for a ticket to get in, and then you have to buy two drinks minimum, which is fine. It was still cheaper than two drinks at the other place, even with the ticket price. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
They were stronger too, but besides the
Yeah,
point, it
they
was
want you laughing.
yeah. But no, no, the comedians were fun. The opener was great. The headliner was good. Lewis Katz. He says he has like specials and stuff out online. It was pretty funny. So had a good time with that. Got home. Got back to the hotel. Went to bed. And then next couple days after that were just busy.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that. I was a little jealous when I saw the pictures of the comedy club up there. It's like, oh yeah, that must have been a good time.
It was. And I've never been to one. So like I was like walking. I'm like I don't know what's going on, but it's funny.
Yeah,
And then
very good stuff.
outside that teardown went well. We busted our butts. It took long. Since it's a bigger hall, it took longer than usual. Usually we wrap up around 9:30 for a teardown. This was around 10:30, 11 we wrapped up. To get to the point where the people who have later flights the next day, because I usually take an early flight out Monday because of work. Um, but essentially we get it 90% finished, and then the next people show up next morning for 10% that. So it was good. And then flying home, I had a long layover, but once again, I dodged some storms because my longer layover meant the storms that were hitting Pittsburgh, the tail end of all that crap, moved through by the time I landed.
Nice.
So yeah, then home by 12:30 and great time. I do want to give a shout out to more than just the other AOS dredges I did earlier, but shout out to Martin Orlando because he painted me a nice dwarf rune lord just out of nowhere, and I was like, it's beautiful. I love having painted models of other people's stuff, no matter the skill level, because it's just like they're fun to put on my shelf.
Right.
And he's a great painter, so I was really appreciative of that. And then Dale, he's a Chump Hammer over on Twitter, Swig Boss Dale. He 3D printed me. He's from British Columbia, so he drives down. He 3D printed me with like a little insert metal. I should be having my beer out of that. A Daughters of Cain chalice has like skulls and stuff on it. So it's like my own custom chalice. It's over with my army now. It's like he painted it up. It's great. And like I take the metal cup out to wash it and stuff like that. But yeah, I felt so nice. It was so sweet.
Cool.
But yeah, and then surprisingly got that home with no issues from TSA.
Yeah. I'm part of my hobby this week has been thinking about how in God's name I'm going to travel. I've never flown with models before. It actually terrifies me. It's always terrified me.
Yep.
I don't want to do it, and I don't have a choice. So in order to make this weekend happen, I have to fly there. So
Well, I said don't forget, if you want to, we can meet at Matt's. We can drive him down for you. It's only an hour and a half drive one way. If you can swing like a kind of a long, wake up in early morning, drive down, drive back by mid morning. We can drive. Because it's me and Matt in Matt's new car, and he's got a big SUV. We could absolutely drive that.
That is some tempting stuff there, sir.
As someone who's flown with models, it's not bad, but it's not convenient.
Yeah. I'm just terrified. Like, I'm either gonna have to bring him on as like a carry-on, and I'm just terrified somebody's gonna like go through it, be like, not know what this is, so open it up, go through everything, and
they're right there. So every time I've had like my models and they had to check it, I just say like, okay, it's like absolutely. Just I ask them like, hey, they're very delicate models that I built and painted myself. Could you please be careful handling them? And most people are fine with that. I've never heard many. I've heard very few horror stories about that. But yes, if you're like you carry those on and you don't let go of them. Like if they're just like, oh, we need to check one of your bags, it's like you take my clothes.
Right. Yeah.
But that's why I say like, hey, if you can meet up with Matt since he's closest. Because I'll be going there before because we're driving down. We'll probably drive him down for you. That's not a problem.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll think about that for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk off air.
My anxiety level just dropped a little bit, so
It'll save you money, so you have to check any. Like, yeah, just do that. It's easy.
I might be able to think about actually having a display board at that point. I don't know if that would put you guys two out, but
no. Matt got a new car. It's very nice. It's very big M style. It's big, so and it's just him and I in it, so there's plenty of room. We each have our armies. I'm working on a display board. He's going to work on a display board. So you get a display board.
There will be no sabotage. There will be no leaving of the armies that I lose.
No,
in our competition.
No,
right? Make sure that Matt won't sabotage me, right? Because that's the way he would dodge me. He would do it, right? Because he can't beat me straight up. So he's going to have to come up with a way.
You have the promise of my Caradron fleet. There'll be no sabotage, and even beyond that, heck, why not? I will give you the promise of the Terrathian call, because that's more important to me, that it will be there safely, even though they won't be there. I'm always Terrathi's representative, so don't worry about that.
There we go.
But I'm trying to think, anything else? Oh, other hobby. I mention, I built my old world model. I put that was the last podcast, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
got my Terrathi spec there, but no, that's it. This is kind of fun and exciting. I want to put this out there. So, a gentleman by the name of Cody, he's down in Florida, gave me this idea, and I told him I'm stealing it, and I stole it, and we're running it at our club day this Saturday. So, Neil, have you ever played Beer Hammer?
Beer Hammer?
Yes.
Define Beer Hammer, because I play a version of what I call Beer Hammer, but I don't know that it's the same thing.
What I grew up of what Beer Hammer was, was you start the game, and it was Fantasy 8th edition. You start the game, no train on the table. And you have your drinks. You're only allowed to have one drink at a time. But as soon as you finish said drink, you can put down the can or the glass on the table anywhere to create terrain, block line of sight, whatever. So, like, if someone's about to make a charge and you have 3 fingers of whiskey in it, you can shoot it real quick and slam it down right in front and fuck up their charge. That's what Beer Hammer is to me. Blank table, and you put down stuff as you drink it. What's your version?
Just to give the kids an extra drinking game here. So my version of Beer Hammer is whenever one of your units is destroyed, you get to make your opponent who destroyed that unit drink for as long as you want, knowing full well that if you destroy one of their units, that could be coming right back at you, and will come right back at you at whatever level you probably just punished your opponent, depending on how you look at it. It may not be a punishment. I remember I was playing a game with Steve Mata where he had clearly won the game, and I had moved a unit onto an objective just to make sure, like, try and take 1 point away from him, but not really because of that, because I knew he would be tempted to destroy that unit.
Yep.
And it was the end of the game. The game was going to be over. And so he took the bait, he destroyed the unit, and damn it if I didn't make him chug a beer for that.
He was with Kragnos too, wasn't it?
We were pretty well thrashed after that game. So.
I remember that. That was a good one.
Have some fun with that, kids.
So we play at one of the local churches in town. One of our club members, his father is a pastor there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to be playing Beer Hammer.
Mm-hmm.
But we like to help out the community. So what this event is going to be is it's the same concept where you're starting with blank tables. And everyone has been encouraged to go get items for the food bank.
Mm.
Canned goods, hygiene, like everything that they need. All that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're going to do is before the game begins, you and your opponent pull out of your donations, your cans and whatever you got, and you set up the terrain that way.
Mm.
Then you can put like a couple cans together and call that a tower or whatever you want. But so you guys are building your own terrain with your donations, and then during the game, you can set down more donations to help robust and screw each other up. Now, there'll also be the local stores giving us some prize support. There'll be tickets, so there'll be, put everything you put down will get a ticket or 2, and then if you get down like the stuff that the food shelter really needs right now is you'll get 2 tickets. So really encouraging that. So it's the concept of Beer Hammer turned into a more charitable way. So thank you, Cody, for that I stole. We're running it this weekend on 40K 10th edition, and I can't wait.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, good luck with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, there'll be lots of. I mean, listen, as someone who's running it, alongside Brad, who also runs the 40K stuff, it's gonna be great because I just have to set up tables and mats. I don't have to get any terrain out. Fuck that. Just everyone. Yeah, it's gonna be so easy.
Oh,
And then
yes.
even
No,
the
I know,
donations we leave
I
at the
know how that
church.
goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even the donations we leave at the church, because the church we donate to the church and the church donates it to the food bank. So that's how that process works. But yeah, that's all my hobby.
Nice. We're gonna get into this new GHB, which I know very little about.
Yeah, tell you what, first before we do that, let me bring up the Battlescroll here.
Ooh,
Just cover some of that real quick.
let's see.
We won't go into much detail. I mean, Warhammer Weekly did a great job with this. So if you want
Right.
if you want a 3-hour episode on 5 fucking pages, go there. Because
Yeah.
I'm currently watching it since I didn't get to watch it while I was traveling. So I love you, Vince. I love you, Tyler. Love you, Tom.
We made it
But I
happen.
don't know how you did 3 hours. Like I'm just at the beginning. I don't know how you did 3.5 hours with just 5 pages. Dear God.
This is why we lose.
Yeah, yeah. So first and foremost, Neil, is there anything exciting on here that you saw that you really liked that helped you? Now, we did mention before the coherency going from 2 to 6 models instead of 2 to 5. I think everyone's on board with that.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought the point changes and everything seemed pretty okay.
So, yes,
So
seemed fair.
I was a little worried that they were gonna really come down hard on Caradron, and yeah, if you played a lot of Thunders, maybe you feel that way. But I still think they're a pretty playable unit, even at those points. Like, what do you maybe take something else out to make up for the points?
Or maybe
Just-
take 10 instead of 15 or 20.
Yeah, and you're still gonna pump some damage there with those bad boys.
Yeah, and
So
Tables Battle
I mean, are they gonna have that 60% win rate? I don't know that they were still having that at that point too. Like, I mean, I have literally no concept of how to beat Soulblight Grave Lords with Caradron Overlords. I if it's possible, I don't even know how it is.
I don't
So
know how to
I'm
beat
really
Soulblight at
crossing
all.
my fingers I don't have to find out.
Yeah, yeah. Daughters Kane got points decreases. I was very happy for her. I wouldn't mind a few more.
Mhm.
Like I wish we get Witch Elves back down to 100. Honestly.
Yeah.
And I was hoping Marathi would drop a little bit
Mhm.
because I want her under 700. That's how I fly my flag. That's the hill I will die on forever. She does not deserve to be 700 points.
I really do. Like, it seems like, and I know they talked about this on Warhammer Weekly a little bit, and I tend to agree with it. It seems like the points adjustments were, we look at, okay, what's been taken the most, what seems to be the most egregious, things, and we'll lower those. And then these things that we're not seeing as much, we'll lower the points on those, or we'll raise the last ones. We'll raise, right, and these ones will lower.
Yeah, apparently
And
no one plays Stormcast. Apparently.
Right. I would wish there was more like thoughts of like, okay, well, how does this unit fit in the army kind of thing? Like, why isn't it being played, or why is it being played? Right.
I think
as far as the rules go, right?
There is to a point, but it's only for the broken view. Like, so this was my argument with Marathi for the longest time. Is why I always argued keep her under 700 points, and is because, yeah, you're looking at her as a war scroll, sure, but if you look at her in the context of the army, 700 is too much. So I get your point, and sometimes it's
if
just
you look back at like maybe it was second edition, like Khorne, when the priest had 3 prayers that he could do for like 100 points. And everybody's just like, oh, this is the best unit in the game for 100 points. Yeah, but at the same time, you need him to have any chance of making like a mortal style army work.
Right.
If you go way up on points, like then
you're in trouble. Yeah.
For me, the whole army doesn't work anymore, right? So like, okay, now he's worth his points, but now the army is not. So there's look at how he plays. I wish they would do a little more of that, but I'm not displeased. I'm not unhappy with what they've done.
Yeah,
so
I think
trying to take a light touch and then not have to overreact. And stuff.
Conservative touches are always good. I think the biggest problem with why those things will happen on occasion is just because you need someone who really loves and champions that army. Like I said. And this isn't a brag, but I was the one that always arguing to keep Marathi underneath 700 points. Right. And then whenever my playtest 10-year ended, she's over 700. She's 700 points now. It was like instant because there was, and like I said, that's fine. It's not really ruining that much. I'll just die on the hill because it's fun and it's a good bit. But if you don't have somebody championing that army to the point of I love this so much, you might miss those intricacies. But when you're looking at the whole picture, and then not that you always got to look at the whole picture first and foremost. But if you have that one other person that can poke and be like, hey, here's why this is an issue, you can at least consider it.
And just looking at like maybe the different style armies in the books and stuff too, right? Like, I get this is the meta art, this is the meta list, right? But if I try like for the longest time, Khorne was played with a lot of demons, right? You got your bloodthirsters, you got your blood. That's that's what you used, right? Was the 4 bloodthirster, whatever.
Yeah.
But me, for a guy who likes the mortals, right? And I'm trying to find a way to make the mortals work. It's just like, somebody, please, will somebody, care for the children, right?
Well, honestly, if you look at my Khorne army, it was from AOS like 1.0, and it's a mixed mortal demon army. And I have not been able to play that army since because I don't feel like painting the army anymore. And it's absolutely terrible because I've mixed them. How dare I pick what I want and
Right. And I know they're not going to be able to like figure out, okay, anybody can make any number of combinations of types of armies, but when you have like something in the book that is leading you to mortals, but then that thing is not really playable, right? Or whatever it may be, right? Then like, let's maybe look at that a little bit more, right? Because clearly you want people based in this book to be able to do this, or this. So let's make sure at least this, or this works.
Speaking of talking with your hands, Neil, the camera's shaking and the mic is like pounding from you hitting the table.
I am in fact half Italian, so I
know.
Every once in a while it bleeds through.
I say it just came out there.
So, I'm starting to get passionate.
Yeah, it's like the blood was up, man.
Yeah. I understand how difficult that is. This is not me being overly critical or anything like that. Like it's kind of like a wish list kind of thing, so I still like everything that was done, as far as this GHB.
GHB and his battle pack's fine. Like I'm really happy about the Lookout Sarah rule. I can keep my heroes.
Lookout Sarah rule is great.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that. I like that you can go inside of 12 inches and still shoot whoever the hell you want. That's going to be something that I get to enjoy with my character on Overlords. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's good. I always reference everything to my Daughters of Cain armies because that's what I play most of the time. I haven't really thought through what this means for my KO army, but it's probably a good thing because if it's good for one, it's good for many. So I'm excited for that. The Arcane Tome can no longer unbind endless spells. It's the only change. Sure, whatever.
Sure. Why not? It's an artifact. You're probably making somebody who isn't a wizard, and so they get a drawback. I'm good with it.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I don't care.
And they fixed the Soul Blight issue with zombies exploding everywhere.
Fixed the ish, from what I understand.
Yeah, fixed the ish.
So you'll just see like 18 units of 20 now instead of big blocks of 60.
And that's up to the Murder Lust reward ability. That's fine. Let me bring up the second one here.
And I'm also a little bit more butthurt about zombies too, because I've always been a skeleton fan. Honestly, I had an army at one point before I traded it away that had like 80 skeletons. But not only was I not able to use all of the skeletons that I had, and with reinforcement points and all the rest of that, the max would be 60. They also are hot trash when they're compared to zombies.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's just, and then they got cool models. They got all these cool skeleton models. I'm like, oh, these are cool, but I'm never actually going to use them.
Still, like I like vampires. I like the Laukavai. I love that model. I like Blood Knights. I hate zombies and I hate skeletons, so therefore I haven't made a death army yet because. I don't
Sidebar on that, they have like the monstrous vampire faction.
Yeah, that's the only one I would do it because it's also Laukavai.
I wish they had like some kind of like small unit, kind of like little creepers or something that would go with that army a little bit more. So it's like because you got like these monster vampires, then zombies. Why? Like it doesn't look like it.
I wish you could make blood. Like, I wish the army I want would allow Blood Knights to be battle line. I'd like a cavalry style vampire army, but besides the point. Other changes: Grand Alliance Order, Lumineth Realm Lords. Please take anything that's not Sentinels. Dear God, please take anything that's not Sentinels. That's all this is about. Stop taking Sentinels. Take 20, sure. Stop taking Sentinels.
In Lumineth Realm Lords, like the look of the army. If you go way back in the histories of this podcast, you'll hear me like super poo-poo them.
yeah, I know.
But I will will say they have grown on me over the years to the point where I actually enjoy the aesthetic now
Yep.
and appreciate it. I would never run all the Sentinels. I would try to find some other way to make that army work. And from what I understand, maybe there is ways. I don't know, but
I still think
I like the
I
great
think
range.
yeah, I love the range. I still think a solid techless build where you bring some shooty, some spears, some blade, like I think they're
Mhm.
one of the few armies that can do a general mixed arms fairly well and still
Yeah.
come out like a 3-2 army.
Okay.
I'm still a fan, but I also yeah, it's techless, and I'm waiting. You got a nice sculpt of a techless that you printed out one for yourself, and I'm begging you for one now too.
Yeah. Oh,
That
that'll happen.
the
Trust
one
me.
that's based upon the cover. Oh man,
In fact, you may get one painted for you and hand delivered for
ooh,
maybe helping me out bring my armies to Nashville. So
awesome.
might be able to put another model on the shelf there.
Heck yes, that would be sick. That'd be a display piece, man. Um, work plans got a battle tactic, two battle tactics. Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't really read them because I don't really play my 1,000 point
I have no
tapulary.
idea what goes on with work plan.
Get something with squig hurt. I hate squigs. Oh, no, okay, I don't hate squigs. I hate what
Wigs
squigs do to
are
me. I love squigs.
they have to
Squigs hurt me every time I play against them.
yeah.
And
They
Suns
got to
said
do
something.
whatever their special ability, their mortal wound bomb towards the closest unit now
Oh, okay,
within
all right.
9 inches, so that they can't like overshoot
Kill,
whatever
yeah,
and get
kill heroes
whatever.
behind your line.
Right,
Okay, that
right,
makes
right.
sense.
So it's a lot better.
That's good. I mean, it still kills me no matter what because
Yeah.
this style
they're
of
still
army I
gonna be
play every time I
they're
play
still very
against squigs.
usable and
Yeah.
yeah.
And Suns, I don't care. Just gonna close that.
Mhm.
I'm sure Suns are fine, right? They're always fine in this edition, right? No problems
Oh
at
yeah.
all.
Oh yeah. At least I actually like one of the reasons why I like my Overlord's army so much right now is that I can in fact take out a giant per turn. And with no army that I've ever had, can I been able to do that in the
You're
past.
like,
So
that's dead.
yeah.
That's dead.
Mhm.
All right, so GHB.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this, Neil. I'm gonna open up. So
And tell me what you're looking at.
I am going to the Antor, the region of war.
Sure.
So I guess the special fun things of this GHB.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah. So essentially, if you're a non-unique wizard, 9 wounds or less, you become an Antorian Locus, which means you get all these fun rules such as optimal focus, uh, cast extra spell if you're going second, unbind an extra spell in that battle round. If you're not, you can receive 1 command point to command spent by the hero. So little bonuses to go second. I never hate seeing that.
Yep.
Primal magic, which is probably my most exciting thing for this. And when I knew this was coming, there was always the worry. Like, so I hated the GHB with the bounty hunters because I like running witches and Sisters of Slaughter, which means I was losing every single game because they were just getting wiped. I like primal magic. I like this. It's more of like the classic risk reward system with magic. But the thing I always kept in my mind, and I think we're safely around it now, was the worry that, okay, what if the person who's opposite of me of my coin, that's more competitive, sees this and goes, this is too narrative and it's not fun. And we're stuck with it for a year. So I kind of had that in my mind while still being
Mhm.
happy about it.
Yeah.
Where do you land with primal magic? Which essentially for everyone listening is each player at the start of each round will roll dice and a 4 up. Both people get a primal magic. You can use it to help boost spells, boost unbinds, but you could miscast it one way or the other, and it could cause bad things to happen if you do that.
It's to me it's like one more thing. Like if I'm playing in a match play tournament or whatever, kind of don't like having to think about all this kind of crap. Like I got enough worries thinking about the rules of my own army.
Right.
And I know if you're a good player, you're like, okay, learn another rule,
Yeah, it's
right?
like,
But I'm
okay,
just
battle
like,
tactic. Okay, primal dice.
yeah,
Okay, hero face.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like this is like the this just summarizes how I feel about third edition, which is like I don't know if that level of like amount of rules is necessary. it's kind of cool. And I get if you want to make something narrative, you're going to have to put some kind of additional rules onto it.
Right.
It's just more brain load to me. But that being said, okay, so I can make my non-magic army even more non-magic, right? Or I
Right.
can make my magic army even better. But if I have um, one wizard that doesn't have any pluses to cast, or maybe two in my army, what are you doing?
Well, it's
First of all, you don't get to cast anything with those two wizards. You might as well jettison them out of your list because they're not going to cast anything. So you better not be. And they touched on this, of course, too, Warhammer Weekly. But if you have just some wizards kind of scattered through your army, there is literally no reason for them to be in there at this point. You can take somebody who's not a non-wizard, you can dispel spells, at this point. So
right.
and do it well. So
yeah, but I mean, there is always the chance that if you can throw a couple dice and you use the primal dice to get double sixes, you can irresistibly cast it. Essentially, you're gonna take some damage, but
sure.
I look at it. I look at it from
the harken back to a little bit of from
like
Warhammer Fantasy and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean that's the way when I read this, I was like, oh, okay, so they're trying to Warhammer Fantasy these rules a little bit for Magic. So I thought that was kind of cool, but
it's a very cool
lot
concept.
Of layers.
I will agree. Yeah, the mental load is definitely harder with this sort of stuff. This is probably like the one GHB I've actually kind of really liked because it is more narrative feeling, and is thinking from the doc perspective. Getting Mind Razor off is hard because we don't have any things that have +1 to cast. So if I can save up 2 primal dice, and my opponent maybe blows a few or whatever, it won't be. It's very beneficial for me then to maybe guarantee getting that Mind Razor off on that critical charge turn 3, turn 2. You know what I mean? So I don't hate it, but I know what you mean because it definitely seems like it's easier to lean into what we're going to talk about next, which is the enhancements, which is just being no magic. You get no magic.
Right.
I'm going to stop all your magic unless you're. I mean, obviously the casting gods, Teclis, and Croak will still do well, but you have a better shot of stopping them now with that extra dice.
My Caradron Purple Sun list was so happy to see this because what I'm going to do is on my first turn, I'm going to whip that Purple Sun. I'm going to go bowling with the Purple Sun. I'm going to go, I'm going to throw it right at your army. Everything, if it crosses something and does a mortal wound or 2, perfect. Don't care because everything within 6 inches of that is now -1 to their armor save, right? Yeah. And I'm going to bomb my entire army into you, and I'm going to try and just level you with that as much as possible. And then on either your next turn or my next turn, I'm going to roll 3 dice and I'm going to spell the Purple Sun, so because I no longer control it anymore, and I'm just going to get rid of it.
That's
and
true.
Then it, and it was a free Purple Sun for me for that turn. Perfect.
Now, granted, also you keep those dice. Let's say it's deep in their back line and you're nowhere near it. You'd let it keep going.
I could, but the problem is Caradron don't have wizards, so they have no way to control it. So
no, but
if the enemy has 1 wizard, they get to control it from there on.
Sure, but hey, I mean, sometimes it could be an annoyance just to leave it in the way. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's easy for you to get rid of, and you don't have to worry about it hurting yourself, which is a great bonus.
Right. Yeah, so that's going to be the strategy there. We'll see whether it works or not, but that's my thought behind it. So.
Yeah, but was it? Yeah, it's nice to see that this is the magic focus rule set, but there's also stuff to deal with it. So we got all the artifacts are all about getting rid of magic. So
I don't love cool. The big sweeping changes. I love narrative, and you're well aware of that. But if I'm playing a match play game, I'm not sure. Like if I'm playing a tournament, I don't know. I don't know that I need this. I just if I'm playing just like regular ass match play 2,000 point pickup game, sure, okay. But it's just I don't know. I don't know if I need it.
Well, I mean, hey, good thing is we're now. I hated the 6 month. Right. I like the year.
Yeah. Oh, I'm hugely a big fan of that. Thank God.
Yeah. Because if this is what we're gonna have, then I will have this cemented in my head, well before the time for it to go away is upon us.
Thank you, GW. You are doing Sigmar's work with the year for this non-competitive gamer.
Then, so if you are a wizard and you're trying to cast some stuff, there's the Realm Sphere Magic. So we've got Hoarfrost, casting value 8, range 12 inches, pick 1 friendly wholly within range, invisible. Pick 1 melee weapon profile on that war scroll and roll a d3. change the 2-hit, 2-wound, or rend characteristic of that melee weapon to match the result at the start of the hero phase.
That's pretty nice.
Let's see.
If you can get off.
If you can get off, yeah. Goes off on an 8. Now, it's... I can see what these are going to encourage you to want to use the primal dice. Like, why would you... If these were low and not as powerful, it would be less exciting. It's like, no, if you're going to do it, we want you to use the primal dice and get it off.
Right.
Rupture, casting value 10, 18 inches. Pick one predatory endless spell or one incarnate, wholly within range. Immediately becomes wild. It cannot be picked or controlled and bonded for the rest of the battle.
I can't wait for this to happen to Matt at NashCon.
I know. I have honestly thought, is there a way? And it's like, yeah, 'cause you can bring in some allies, just to bring the one caster, just to give them this, and just be like, just in case.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
oh, you got this? Cool. Never mind.
It's going right into your army right
Yeah, like
now.
I brought this to fuck with people who are still bringing incarnates, but this might be enough to scare people from bringing incarnates.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. And then the biggest one, Merciless Blizzard, casting value 12, range 12 inches. Pick one enemy within range, visible. Unit suffers 4d6 mortal wounds, but for each roll of a 1, the caster also suffers d3 mortal wounds. Cannot be negated. The range of the spell cannot be modified, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so 12 inches. So it's... I mean, I like the risk-reward of that. This feels like that level 6, or number 6 spell from, like, our fantasy days. Not for the fact that they ever had a chance of hurting us, but because you're always going to throw 6 dice at it to possibly hurt yourself.
You're still going to do it.
Like, if you get a chance to do this...
You're going to pay that cost every single time.
Yeah.
To do 46 mortal wounds to whatever it is.
And truth be told, I go back, I'm thinking about my Daughters of Cain, like, yeah, that's fine. I'll suffer it, even on my 5-wound heroes. I know I don't get my ward save on it, but I'll risk it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you could potentially take down, a 900 point Nagash with this thing. I mean, and you're going to lose 100? Maybe lose a 100-wound or a 5-wound character.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, just like, okay, sure. I like the prospect of maybe doing 24 mortal wounds to you. Have fun.
Yeah.
Just go ahead.
Yeah. That's very Timmy. It's a very Timmy moment, but it's going to be used very much by Spike.
Yep.
And that's going to be somebody's going to teleport that into your face turn 1, and they are going to blow the shit out of you turn 1, and there's going to be a lot of handshakes happening on the first turn based on the spell. So
hey, I want to bring in an ally with the KO, or just anybody. Bring this, just drop them right away and be like, boom.
Yeah.
And it's like, you say you failed it. Like, okay, well, good game. There goes my whole game plan.
Yep.
It's just to do this.
God, 46. Goodness.
All right. Command traits are all about spells and getting extra primal magic, so we'll just go past that. Core battalions. I have actually don't recall these. I haven't had a chance to look at these yet, so kind of new to me on this. Let's see. First one, Antidorian Acolytes. It looks like it's going to be 3 heroes. Wounds characteristic center less. Minimum 2, max 3. Start of each hero phase, if there are 2 or more friendly Antidorian Locus units in this battalion on the battlefield, roll dice, and 3+ you gain a primal magic dice. Okay, so your little wizard conclave running around. And then the wizard finders, magic hunters, cannot include wizards. You're going to have a non-wizard hero, 1 infantry minimum, can have also a 2nd infantry and a monster. Let's see, each time this unit in this battalion is picked to fight, you can say that will go on a wizard hunt. If you do so, pick 1 melee weapon profile on that unit's war scroll until the end of that phase. Add 1 to the attack characteristic if it's attacking a wizard. I guess if you see lots of Nagashes and Marathi, like Alarials, like, okay, hey, here's my Durthu. All right, yeah, he's part of my wizard finders. I'm gonna get extra 1 attack here, and kill your 5-wound hero in the most brutalish way possible.
I would encourage everybody to If you have some Mexican food some night and you feel that urge to go, make sure you take your GHB, peel this little page out of there, and use it for some toilet paper because nobody, and I do mean nobody's taking any of these battalions. If because first of all, you're going to be taking a battle regiment anyway.
Yep.
Try and get that second turn. Yeah, it's cute that we made some of these, but they will not be used. And if they are, I'll be shocked. And I'd love to see the hero that runs it and runs it well.
Hey, heck yeah. I mean, I could see if your meta gets a lot of like the big wizard heroes around, because it just says enemy wizard, not Antorian Locus. So I mean, extra attacks on some of the big wizards wouldn't be a bad thing.
I don't know. I tell you what, you probably have enough to take them out anyway. It's probably overkill.
Yeah.
If what I will say, I don't mind these battalions. I don't mind that they exist. I actually kind of like that they exist. What I don't like is that battle regiment exists. And the whole one drop thing that's been like plaguing Age of Sigmar since the second edition. Please, can we make it go away? I've always been in a.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I hate that part of the game where you're trying to outdrop your opponent to decide who goes first or second. I would be 100% okay if that was always a random roll.
I'd love for it to be a random roll. If I'm trying to make a concession to somebody, I'll give you a +1 if you finished first.
Yeah,
okay,
that's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you win ties. At least the other guy's got a shot, and it still puts some. I don't know what I'm going to have to plan for both things. But when you know what's happening, you can dictate that first turn. I don't know. It cheapens the game to me a little bit. Like, it's taking a part of the game out.
Yeah, especially when damage is so high, like in this edition. Like it's a little,
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I was playing like just pickup games or narrative games and somebody said to me, they're like, "Hey, do you want to just roll for first turn instead?" I'm like, "Oh God, thank you." I would love to.
How about we just do this? Yeah.
I don't care that I even put a battle regiment into this. Let's just do it. Let's roll for it because I don't like the fact that you're taking out part of the game by just me saying, "Hey, I built my army in this certain way."
Right.
I would much rather see people build their armies and just go based on just drops, right? Like just.
I'll still say
if you finish first, then you still get it. But even that's a better solution than battle regiment, right?
I'm still gonna say it. I miss from second edition the unique battalions that gave you extra rules for that small battalion that cost points. I like that more than I like what we have now.
But the problem was a lot of those battalions in those books gave you this one drop, right? And that's what everybody went to, was like the one drop thing that would guarantee you a choice, right, of when you're going. So
yeah, but I like those because I'd rather pay points for that and have less models and have a unique ability for those specific.
The problem is that you're going to pay them. You're going to pay them every time
if they're too good. Yeah, but
unless you make it egregious, in which case then just take it out of the game. Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be there. So if that's how you feel about it and you're pointing it to that point, like take it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll die on that hill. I want it to go away. I will battle it like Gandalf battles the Balrog into the depths of hell.
There you go. I'll be Frodo on the side watching.
Fly, you fools.
Yep. I'll be like, I agree with him, but I'm not ready to die just yet. All right, so we got some grand strategies. They're about wizards and incarnates and stuff. I don't know. I played Daughters of Cain. I don't ever read these.
Yeah.
I might have to for KO this time, but yeah.
Yeah. No, KO's got some great ones. Keep your boats alive. If you haven't kept your boats alive, guess what? You lost anyway.
Yeah, that's true. And then battle tactics. Once again, I'm not gonna read these because I played Daughters of Cain, and also battle tactics are the thing where I'm the Gandalf. I hate battle tactics. I'm tired of them. They're stupid. I hate having to have that extra layer of thought of what I want to do with my army. My goal of my army is to crush my opponent, not do this little side mission and draw some graffiti on this piece of terrain because I can get 2 points that way and I can win the game. I like grand strategies. I hate battle tactics, so that's my hill.
I wish the terrain were the battle tactics, right? Like they make some like honest to God, like decent, specially ruled like terrain things or whatever. You can score by getting this type of terrain or that type of terrain, and this one's worth more than that or whatever. I think that'd be kind of fun and cool. But like I don't know. I just don't like the arbitrary.
Yeah, the problem with that is then you're you're assuming that all events are going to be able to have the terrain, and that's where that issue comes in. And
Yeah,
I get
sure.
that. I get that.
It's just a thought, but man, I don't love
Well, it's
the you know
to me, it's the same thing. Like
it's
every time I play 40K, people are like, okay, well, what secondary missions you choosing? Okay, I'm not. I don't care if I win. I don't care about those. They're even worse in 40K.
trying to make a narrative thing matched play, but the problem is it can't be matched play. It can't be balanced because they're not the same. They're not as different ones are easier to get than others, right? So if we
Well,
all
yeah,
had to
like
play out of just these, then okay, maybe, but then my armies are different, right?
I
So
say it.
some armies
Yeah,
are going to be better,
we had that at Brewhammer because we got there and it's like, oh, we're using just GHB. It's like, okay, sure, you're the TOs, that's fine. Me as a doc player, it was miserable.
Yeah,
It just changed the haves and have-nots in a different way. It didn't solve
right.
the issue. It just shifted who had a chance and who didn't. And it was,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some armies are good either way, and that's fine. But like,
Hmm.
it is what it is. But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
To round it all out, battle plans. I have a brand new favorite battle plan.
What is that?
Well, I want to ask you yours first. Do you have
I
one?
haven't looked at these. I have not looked at these, so I
Okay.
cannot tell you.
Let me point you to page 42, called No Reward Without Risk.
I'm getting there.
No problem.
There we go.
If you're at home, please follow along as well. Neil, you're going to see why this is my favorite. Because keep in mind, I'm a Daughters of Cain player.
Okay.
So look at deployment.
All right. The attacker picks which wholly within their territory. Okay. So
All right,
I
now
haven't seen
look at the map. Now the map is quarters, so each person
Yeah.
has one alternating quarter.
Mhm. Feedback overlord.
No. Stop.
Tell me,
We're not on the feedback yet. Neil, where would
okay.
you out of these there's four quadrants. Within those four quadrants, there's four more quadrants per territory. Neil, where are you going to deploy your models? Because also there's 5 objectives, dead center, and kind of like centralized on the
Well, you're going to push everything right to the middle. I would
absolute
imagine.
absolutely. Because you know what's missing from this.
What's that?
And
Oh
this is
yeah, there's no 9-inch like
no
bubble.
9 inches away.
I was looking for that. I'm like, where is it? Where am I missing it? Where
And
am I missing?
well, I can't fish. It's weird. I guess I sort of can. How this was ruled at the U.S. Open, because we played this mission.
Okay.
This is written as it is intended. There is no 9 inches away. So Neil, let's say you deploy right on that line, and say I deploy right on that line. We just deployed right in combat, sir. Let's fucking go.
It's so stupid.
This
Can't stand it.
This is my favorite mission because of that.
Is this one in? The NashCon?
To tell you the truth, I don't know. I'm not sure if he announces missions. I didn't look.
I think he did. He said he would pick them out of these certain missions or whatever, but he gave more than what we.
That's true. Yeah, he picks more than just that. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I hope so. To me, this is my favorite battle plan ever. And hey,
This makes me want to barf. Actually,
you know what's really great? Because one of my lists may have there's a June bug attacking me now. Sorry. Yeah, it's a big one. I'll get it later. I might be putting Gotrek in one of my lists.
Oh my god!
Yes, absolutely. Because it's like, boom, here's Gotrek in the middle of the board. I just solved his issue, which is no movement and can't ride in my boats or anything I have.
Okay, so you better have a battle regiment for this one, so you determine which way you want to go with it.
Mm-mm.
Because if you got an Alpha Strike army, you are winning this turn 1 with a battle regiment.
No, see, with an Alpha Strike army, yes, but if you're battle regiment,
there's nowhere to hide. Like, look at that. I mean, you could have everything right there in the middle. There is nowhere an Alpha Strike army couldn't get to you in your deployment zone. I mean, there's just nowhere.
Right, but also at the same time, if you're one drop and you just deployed everything on that line, I can deploy differently. I can deploy to be far enough away from you. I can deploy to be like, no, I get to be in your face too. So there's a little bit of downside on the one drop for this in some instances, I feel. Not heavy, but like, yeah. And also, here's an interesting thing. This was a fun ruling at the event. So the Harvest Boon player, before the first battle round begins, they can move their models 12 inches. It's not a normal move. It's not during the game. So the Harvest Boon player, and they checked it. And we're like, yes, this is exactly how it works.
Are we still on no reward without risk?
Yes, we are. So
where's the Harvest Boon thing? I don't
no,
see
Harvest
that.
Boon is a Sylvaneth player. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So their command thing is like they get the free 12-inch move before the game begins.
Okay. Gotcha.
So they deployed right on the line. Their opponent did the same. Before the game begins, they get a free 12-inch move. It doesn't count as a normal move. It's before the game. They actually just removed their models and went far away. They baited them into the center and then just treed all around. It was glorious to see. There's shenanigans.
Or why don't you just like move directly into combat? Right?
I think he deployed baiting his opponent into combat and then pulled away and then worked around the outside of the table where he couldn't get to him. Because you just summon trees and teleport everywhere.
Yeah, but I guess if you're striking and fading and doing all that kind of stuff, but you still got to get on the objectives. You got to be in the middle at some point, right? You know,
or be on the outside far enough to hold the objective without touching the center. You can give up that center.
Yeah, I guess so.
If you control it, you can control everything else. But and then the other thing you went to before I sidetracked you into why I love that mission so much, feedback overload. Feedback overload. When a wizard is slain before removing the model from play, 4+ that wizard explodes, all magical energy is released uncontrollably. Each unit within a number of inches equal to the wounds characteristic that wizard suffers D3 mortal wounds. The one thing that I did see was kind of cool during this too is usually you don't want to split attacks, but I saw people with shooting splitting attacks across multiple, like a Tzeentch army or something that had multiple wizards. Because they were close enough within range of I forget. Let's see what they have. Oh, they had a keeper, a Lord of Change, not keeper, Lord of Change, and little ones all around, like as far as casting goes. So it was, a heavy casting army, and Lord of Change died, did mortal wounds to things around it, and like it started a chain reaction of them blowing up because they were all kind of peppered a little bit because they kept splitting their shots and then focused down the Lord of Change. So it's fun watching all like the wizards on this table just pop. I mean, like, it's not going to happen too often. Even that Tzeentch player's like, yeah, lesson learned. I know what I need to do in this mission now. But
yeah, well, I tell you what, that's going to be interesting. So it'll be interesting to see how they rule it. I mean, there's no 9-inch rule, so there clearly is. Do whatever.
Yep, and strong.
Wild Wild West kind of thing to do right there. Goodness gracious.
Strong chance that's how it's going to be. So let's get used to it, everybody. Junebug's still flying around. But Neil, do you have any favorite missions that you might see at a quick glance?
Again, I haven't looked at them just yet. So if you have another favorite one, enlighten me.
Ooh, there's the one, the ice fields. I think is pretty interesting. Even though, let me see. Yeah, the ice fields, page 36. Simply because ice and crust, it's a big, like half the board. It's a short edge, but you get half the board for deployment. It is 9 inches away from territory, 6 objectives. But what's fun about it is each time a unit runs, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. When you make a charge roll for a unit, for each dice that shows a 1 before modifiers are applied, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So if you're charging a lot, it can hurt you a little bit before you get in there, which is kind of interesting. I liked it.
Okay. All right.
So as a KO player,
for each unit that runs. All right. So wait. So when you make a charge roll, it's just a charge roll. Thank Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I can get all my army and it's just on the boat. So okay.
Yep.
We are charging in the boats. All right.
Yep. When you charge, get a charge roll. So, I mean, and it's a thing too. If someone fails a charge, double ones. Take 2d3 mortal wounds on doing nothing.
Oof. Yikes. Yeah, well, win more, I guess. Lose more.
Yep. But that's a fun one.
I do like that I'm seeing a lot of these with like 6 objectives.
Yeah.
So if you do play that battle regiment, like you get that 1 drop. You're not gonna have a ton of units to go get these unless you have summons and stuff like that, which of course nullifies all that.
Sure.
Yeah, lots of 6s out there in these battle plans. We'll see how many of them get used. So
see, but I'm excited to get into this Journal's Handbook and see what happens.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a practice game in. I wasn't able to last week, so I need to get at least one in this week for sure. So
Yeah,
we can go round the boys up.
I haven't touched my KO in forever, so I need to really get practice games in for it. I think we got a practice weekend coming up, so I'll get enough in to be competent with the lists I'm choosing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I think that wraps up our.
Go to on Saturday. Maybe I'll shoot up there.
Oh, there you go. There you
Okay, see if I can get away for a day.
go.
So,
But no, I think that wrap up this show. We got I talked about some new stuff. We're doing some hot off the presses reviews. Neil, how do you feel about that?
hot off the presses reviews. Oh boy.
Yeah, like we're like what 2-3 weeks behind? I don't know.
Like, this is where you come for the in-depth 3-hour, real just deep dive
Yep.
into all the nitty-gritty. Yeah. So.
I mean, it was funny that I was going to run the biggest, well, but be part of the biggest event that had this new GHB in it, and my GHB arrived 2 days after I left. Thank goodness the store there had some that we could steal one to use for the event itself.
Yeah, oh my
That and the
God,
Heartbringers. I got the Heartbringers book too, so I read through that narrative. That was pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, do you have any commitments going into next week?
No,
Hobby or
I
otherwise?
would love for this leg to heal so I can keep going. But I think what I might do instead while it is healing up is I might break out the weights a little bit and just do a little bit of weight work, a little bit of body weight stuff. In the meantime, since I can't do the running that I was planning on doing, I do have to finish the last 5 balloon boys that I need for my lists.
Mhm.
As long as my lists don't change, I have to figure out when lists are due, by the way, too. So
It's not till August, so we have a couple weeks.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll at least try and get one game in with them and see how that goes.
Right.
So,
For me, it's a little bit different one. It's more on the nutrition side. And it kind of helped that I was just away for a couple days and not within my normal setting. So like I forget about things like sweets. Like when I have ice cream in the house, I could get ice cream whenever I want.
yeah.
So I'm going to try between now and next recording. I wish to have more days where I don't have like I'm not going to avoid like bananas or stuff like that, but like I'm going to avoid having a sweet treat because I usually take one, I usually will do at most one a day, like an ice cream or candy or something. I'm going to limit myself to having only 3 in the next week. I'm going to try and wean off sugar a little bit, essentially. So I'm going to have more days without sugar than I do with sugar, as far as like a treat. Like so, that's my that's gonna be my commitment for next time.
All right, nice.
Awesome.
Go get it.
Let's go get it. All right, take care, everybody. Stay Stormcast strong and happy hobbying.